Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. freedomsphoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear, no fear, no fear here on Declare Your Independence. Yeah, I'm still fighting that eye infection. They got both eyes. I look like Resident Evil now, man. You know, I'm going to give the state the Resident Evil eye. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, what about medications? Okay. Now, here I've shown you medications, an over-the-counter kind of eye drop and make sure anesthetic kind of whatever, make you feel better. And then, but this one right here, it's got antibiotics in it, and it'll make it better, and it'll fix it. It's illegal for me to use it because I didn't get prescription. I can't. You know, a friend came up and said, "Here, you know, and you could do that. It'll fix it. It'll fix it." But I go, I don't want to break the law. If I break the law, that would be bad, right? So what we're going to do today, we're talking about guns and weed. So, you know, I'm going to do you a favor and wear the sunglasses and say, hey, look, we're going to get all duded up and everything. Dude, happening. Well, then, you know, but that gives me another opportunity. I can wear some other sunglasses. Well, I'll put these, you know, my wife's on. They're kind of more funky. Well, I'll tell you why they're funky. Because, Elton John funky. Here we got a story, you know, about... well, you know, a lot of you guys may remember this song. Dire Straits has a song called Money for Nothing. Get your money for nothing and your kicks for free. Remember that song? A lot of people, man, that's a very popular song. 25 years that thing's been playing. All of a sudden, Canada has decided that the classic Dire Straits song, Money for Nothing, is too controversial for its airwaves. The line that's suddenly been deemed unacceptable after 25 years on the air is this. See the little faggot with the earring and the makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. That little faggot's got his own jet airplane. That little faggot, he's a millionaire. Which, if you're familiar with the song, you already know was meant ironically. But even so, really, Canada, I mean, come on. You know, so this is how bad it's getting. Oh, man, you want to talk about nanny state. You know, here you're not even allowed to listen to your music. I mean, it's banned in Canada. That song banned. Banned. Okay. Well, you know, get the other sunglasses here. Yeah, they're cooler, man. Yeah, there we go. We're cool. And we're going to be talking about, dude, guns and weed. Now, this is a movie we have had our guests on before. It's Michael Dean and Neema Vedadi. Now, Michael, I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves, but let me go ahead and tell you a little bit here. Michael and Neema have some talent and some skills. Michael's got a bunch of other film projects that he's done. I was looking at the bio. I had no idea he'd done so many. And, you know, getting awards and all kinds of stuff. Then, he's even had some, Hollywood people doing his narrations and so on. I think Robert Downey Jr. was one of them. Then you have Neema Vedadi. Now, he's a hip-hop guy. And, by day or by night, whichever it is, he's a news anchor in Wyoming, and he's won awards also. So these guys got some skills. Welcome, Michael and Neema.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm good. Now what I want to do is go ahead and go over first with Michael some of your history in the film industry. I had no idea it was so extensive. Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't think I wouldn't describe myself as ever having been in the film industry. I lived in California from '86 till about 2 years ago, and lived in LA the last 10 years of that, San Francisco before that. And I kind of saw this thing in Hollywood a lot, was like all these people that wanted to connect and get into the industry and the biz, and people that I kind of knew, not good friends or anything, but just people I knew, they got there around the same time I did, and they went out and networked and went to parties and tried to foist screenplays on people and tried to do it through the biz. And I just avoided that and stayed in my apartment and made movies and went out to film people and then came back. And, by the time I'd have a movie out, they'd be moving back to Ohio with their tail between their legs because they weren't picked by the industry gods, But yeah, Robert Downey Jr. narrated my last film, the one before this. And, it's got Jared Leto in it and some other...
What's the name of it? What's it about?
It's called Hubert Selby Jr. It'll Be Better Tomorrow. It's a documentary about the writer of Last Exit to Brooklyn and Requiem for a Dream, and about 5 other books.
So you find something that's of interest to you, and you go, I can just make a movie about it and do it myself.
Yeah. I kind of, my attitude with art is I never make it just to make it. Like I've taken 5 years between each movie, and a lot of people said, you should make one right after the other. You'll build a career. And it's like, I'm not interested in building a career. It's kind of like how when you get a tattoo, I think you should only get a tattoo if there's something that speaks to you so much you want to have it burned into your flesh and scarred with ink. Whereas, some people go into a tattoo parlor and say, I want to get a tattoo, and then pick something off the wall. That's not how I do things.
Yeah, no, I'm hip. Now, let's go ahead and go to Neema. Your involvement in this is, how'd you guys hook up?
Well, Michael had actually seen a rap YouTube video I put up called I Own Me. You guys should check that out on YouTube. Just search I Own Me. And he started messaging me back and forth, and I was in Riverton then working as a bureau chief for the news station. Eventually they moved me up to Casper where Michael lived, and one day he just called me up, was like, hey, you want to come over and eat some buffalo chili? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So I went over, had dinner with Michael, and we started talking about guns, weed, movies, music, and it just sort of grew from there.
No, I think
I stalked him. And then I kidnapped him for liberty.
And he's very talented. I mean, it's a great combination you guys have put together on this, because it's always about freedom. But, the thing is guns and weed. Let's go ahead, Michael. Tell us about how that evolved into making. I gotta give an endorsement for this Guns and Weed movie, man. I tell you, it's awesome. And I started watching it on YouTube because I didn't get the DVD yet, and I started watching it. So it was a 16-part, and I guess there's a button you can do to make it just all play together and so on, and put it on in my HDMI on my screen on my wall and doing all that kind of. But whatever, I'm watching 4 or 5 episodes, and I'm like, I want to watch this whole thing at one time because it really is good. And I wanted to get my wife to watch it with me, and it's kind of hard for us to gather around the computer. But so I'm hawking for a freebie, you know what I mean? But the deal is that they know me. They know I'll bootleg the living snot out of it. So we got to come to some kind of arrangement. But the this is as a movie that would be duplicated and placed. While we're doing the wallet voting thing, putting nickels in parking meters, we fed your meter so you didn't feed the state. And I'd be more than happy to put a copy of Guns and Weed on the windshield along with our little flyer. You know what I mean? So this is a much wider freedom issue, and you always are more effective when you take and pick one of the very controversial issues, and you got 2. And here in Arizona, Friday we have Bob Templeton. He's the owner of Crossroads of the West gun shows, and they just had a show in Tucson, so you can imagine how much media descended on that. And then they're coming to Phoenix this week. I went to Tucson, met with Bob last Saturday, and we're going to have him on Friday. We've had him on the show before, and he's always been very kind to us. And what I'm going to do is really introduce, these concepts. I think that this would be an excellent movie to distribute at gun shows, or even we'll go ahead and purchase them from you and sell them. So we're going to work out something, because I see this as an enormously effective activist tool in letting people know, what the real issues are. And what is the real issue? How do these overlap? What's the issue?
Well, the real issue is freedom. I mean, the movie's not. It's got a lot about guns and weed in it, but it's got a lot about a lot of other things. And guns and weed are really just an example.
Of the nanny state, getting all nannified. Well, we're going to talk about it more when we come back here with Michael Dean and Neema Vedadi. He's both of these guys, very talented, and they got a future and certainly having a voice for many of us. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit.
This is Ernest Hancock. I'm publisher of freedomsphoenix.com and the radio talk show host of Declare Your Independence. Now, I want to give you my personal endorsement of a wealthy U.S. citizen that is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He's produced a video for you. It's a real eye-opener, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to watch it. www.endofamerica, the numbers 1 and 7.com. Endofamerica17.com. This video has the history of how we got where we are now and where we're going and why. Now, it's a lengthy video. It'll be about 20 minutes, but you need to watch this so you understand what's going to happen to this country and how you can protect your wealth and even benefit financially. Now, you go there. It's free. I want you to watch this video. You need to have this information so that you can survive the economic collapse that's coming to America. It's not if, it's when. That's End of America, the numbers 1 and 7.com. After you watch it, you'll understand why I endorse it.